Good morning, everyone. Really excited to be here. I see a lot of orange people, those orange polo shirts. What company are you guys with? You guys like to look like Dutch hooligans. I went to this, Holland-Hungary World Cup qualifier football match. There were about 70,000 Nexenta fans all combined in the Ajax stadium. It was unbelievable. John Ash, where's John Ash? Right there. Our chief sales officer. We're like with our orange Nexenta shirts. We're going, we don't know. We have this many employees. That's why our OPEX is so high. I was going to call our CFO, Rick Marty, is right here in the front. We need to control our OPEX, man. 7,000 employees, all these shirts, and drinking all beer and going crazy. Anybody Dutch in the room? You should go with Nexenta, man. You have to. Anyway, good morning. Really excited to be here. This is my first OpenStorage Summit and OpenStorage Summit as a combined event. And I've never seen this many smart people in one room. I swear, if there was like a terrorist attack, we would lose 95% of our IQ in the United States. So that's why I'm going to ask actually Obama government to protect the building. I'm not kidding. I'm talking to these people, my brain hurts. And someone said, hey, you're passionate about technology, you guys take that to the next level. We need psychiatric help here. People are so intelligent and have some great ideas, but more important than that, I'll tell you, I had this meeting in the UK, actually in Barcelona in Spain at the VMworld. Anybody from VMware here? Okay, so we were at VMworld in Barcelona, and this UK reporter, there's Bridget Warwick in the back, our CMO. So Bridget goes, this guy is amazing, he's very passionate about software-defined data center, he's absolutely into this segment. He's been working in this segment for about 87 years, since he's 6 years old, and he shows that. So he showed up at this meeting and goes, you guys going after this data center mafia, right? I said, oh, that's a nice analogy, I like that. He goes, this segment, this market by the data center players over the past 40 years is so underserved, right? People buying these pizza boxes for the past 40 years and helping these large, big companies build this huge headquarters, all this overhead, Ferraris running around the world. It's a beautiful story. And he goes, I see you guys as the Untouchables. Do you guys like movies? Untouchables, do you remember? So I said, you know what, this is interesting because I call, from a storage perspective, these companies as the massively expensive storage systems, MESS, we call that, MESS, massively expensive storage systems. I said, now you remind me something interesting here because in Untouchables, and I show my age here, the movie, Sean Connery, right? Remember Kevin Costner? Who was the lead? What was Kevin Costner's role's name? You remember? Elliot Ness. Against the mess. So this guy writes this huge report. I'm getting like death threats from EMC, NetApp, and many other system vendors now. But I see all these FBI agents, so to speak, in this room with that intelligence going after that mess in some shape or form against that data center mafia. Whether that's Big Switch, whether that's Nsira, and all the other companies like Mokana in the cloud security space, Mirantis, I met some of the Mirantis folks earlier. This space is unbelievable with a lot of people with a lot of passion, and that really excites me. I come from a company called Wise. For those who don't know, we were in the end-user computing space for 30 years with these zero clients with no operating system running on them, going after the PC business. I drove a car with a no PC logo for about 8 years. And my girlfriend still, threatens me to divorce me because she hated that car. Because everywhere we go, there's a no PC logo, people taking pictures. Now I think I'm going to drive a car with a no mess logo, and I think she's definitely going to divorce me. She doesn't want to be in that car. And I'll tell you, you're going to see these cars all over the place as we move forward because we really believe in this. We really believe in the fact that what you guys are doing in your respective areas. There are a bunch of customers here. A lot of intelligent people from some of the stealth startups. They don't even have badges because they're so stealth. They're not even introducing themselves. They don't have names, like Prince, former non-Prince, the artists, right? We have those guys here too. When you see a person without a badge, just assume that's the next billion-dollar company in that space. So having said all that, we are really passionate about what we're doing. Going back to that Wise story, when Dell acquired us, Dell wanted to get into the software-defined storage space using a new model, basically in the marketplace, other than the PC, as they saw the end user computing was going to change with this new open source flow. But we found out, as I was running the cloud business for them, every other conversation with the customer, the companies mentioned here, sponsors are here, were coming up as a topic. Hey, there's this company called Nexenta. We have to do something with them because these mess vendors, massively expensive store system vendors are killing us. We cannot help the customers because the cost is so high for us to go in and change the game for them from an economic perspective. Not only bits and bytes, but economically, we cannot achieve certain things as we move forward. And that is mostly important in public sector. Their budgets are difficult. As you all know, they're going an economic downturn worldwide. Even if there are some good signs for the uptick, we're still seeing that budget crisis impacting our households, not only companies, but households, consumers around the world. So having said all that, within the public sector, the debt budget crisis and all the inefficiency we have in DC now with the government shutdown and whatnot, we see the biggest problem in one of the segments which is near and dear to our hearts. We have kids, we have tons of students in the K-12 segment which is having a hard time to move into what I call the digital economy. There are school districts here in Northern California, in San Jose, with no computers. And we're talking about H-1B visas, B visas to bring more engineers to our country. And our children, in some segments, in some cities and school districts, I'll give you one example. And let's, call a spade a spade. In East San Jose, there are school districts with no computers because there's no budget. They're having all these grandiose ideas in terms of, storage virtualization, network virtualization, software-defined data center, all in bits and bytes. We're excited about this stuff and the spark plugs, let's call it as is. At the end of the day, the application of it and the impact of it is actually much bigger. So on that note, we truly believe, personally myself, also as my company with Nexenta, to do more public-private partnerships to help certain segments, especially in education, to help with the new type of technology, the technology that we are discussing at this event, in this great event, with great minds of the industry, and make sure that we can help in some shape or form to our schools. Because the future of our companies, future of our economy, not only in the US, but worldwide, depending on smart, intelligent, educated people. So on that note, I want to introduce a friend of mine and then bring him on stage. His name is Mohammed Chaudhary. Mohammed is the president of the Silicon Valley Education Foundation. Mohammed, come up for a second. Give a big hand to Mohammed. Mohammed could have gone to a private sector, start one of those companies that you're starting, you're working on, and make tons of money, but he chose a different path. He's working for this not-for-profit for many, many years, working with a lot of industry leaders who are selflessly helping Education Foundation in Silicon Valley to make sure that we build the first education cloud with the technologies that we're discussing here. So we can impact our students with the right technology for them to get into the digital economy with least cost, without requiring to use mess. Are you with me? So that's what Mohammed is trying to do. So I want to ask Mohammed a little bit, talk about the Education Foundation, your goals, and ask directly for your support as you move forward in the companies you work for, in the new companies you're actually building. Think about what we can do in education, especially in our state, especially where we live here in Northern California. Mohammed.
So at the Silicon Valley Education Foundation, we are absolutely obsessed with preparing all students for college and careers. Because we believe, each of you in this room, if you made it to this room, you have certain characteristics. One, you probably had a great education. And two, you worked hard. And three, you're probably lucky to get through and run great companies. In Silicon Valley or Santa Clara County, there's 300,000 students, which is the size of New Mexico student population, a large market, if you will, where 400 schools, 13,000 teachers, and I'll give you the dichotomy of Silicon Valley. If you want to find the best students, The world-class students who are doing everything right and using technology go up 280. If you want to find the highest need students where you're like, this cannot be happening in Silicon Valley, go just right up 101, as Tarkan was talking about East San Jose. As we look at what you will need to stop needing H-1B visas, we believe it's going to be, the future workforce is going to be around education. And with education, in supporting public education, what we believe is science, technology, engineering, and math, or STEM, are the key things that these students need to be ready for to be able to be your future workforce. Towards that end, we have been starting to look at Silicon Valley in 3 ways. One is toward direct programs, like preparing students for algebra. If you want to look at research, algebra solves everything. Trust me on that. Secondly, we look at policies. How do we change policies in the Valley to make sure more students are ready and it impacts beyond the Valley? And third is innovation. That's where this great partnership with Tarkan and the Silicon Valley Education Foundation and PwC and many other great organizations coming together to say, how do we solve this technology problem in the Valley and prove that it's right? Technology, we don't want to put technology in the classroom for the sake of technology. We want to increase student performance. And what we've seen is there's schools in Silicon Valley where 30 kids watching a video crashes their hardware, their desktop computer that was there since the Clinton administration. How do we change that? And that's where this education cloud, where we're taking 86,000 students, which is the 3rd largest district in California, and figuring out how do we provide them the right technology tools, work with the school districts who are ready to incorporate technology in everything they do, and bring it together to make sure that every student has the right tools they need to be in the seats that you're sitting in today. In order to do that, we have an outstanding board with folks from large companies who really care about this. And we hope to get each and every one of you engaged in this process as we go down this path to make sure that 86,000 students and then 300,000 students, the millions of students, have the same opportunity. And because of 400 schools here, you can't have someone at every school working on the technology problems. If there's a teacher in the classroom, you can't have all the technology problems and all the cost savings. How do we bring our education system to the next level? That's what we're working on, and we've got a great partnership with Nexenta, many other companies. We'd like to get each and every one of you to get involved down this journey as we solve this problem. And on November 6th, we have a great event coming up as well where Tarkan will be speaking and doing lots of great things there as well, called Pioneers and Purpose, where we bring Silicon Valley leaders from all over the Valley and beyond together to say, how do we make sure that our next generation has the same opportunities you do? So thank you for all that you do, and looking forward to getting you involved.
So on November 6th at the Pioneers and Purpose event in a gala dinner, we're going to be making the announcement with PwC, working on this big project for the first elastic cloud education cloud in the nation. There are similar clouds done in state of Illinois, state of Florida, state of New York, but this is going to be, in our opinion, Mohammed with Silicon Valley Education Foundation, Nexenta, and a few other vendors coming together to make this happen. So those vendors, those people who are interested in this program in some shape or form, please seek out Mohammed and myself at the breaks today and tomorrow, and we'd love to involve you in some shape or form. And it's also a great playground for you to see your technology in action, your ideas in action. You might not be actually in a company. You might have some ideas to make this happen with this phenomenally designed, software-defined data center to enable this many students with all applications running from the cloud. And some of these applications, as you know, you think our customers like Fidelity, like Citigroup, like JP Morgan Chase or GM is demanding. Think about some of the students that we're dealing with and the applications are dealing with. They are very demanding, high-end video and voice-capable applications that we need more elastic, more capable, secure, more private data centers to support them. So there's a huge opportunity for this group here and the people that we deal with and work with to help, and not only with product and technology, but also with ideas. So be involved, be part of this. It's going to be a big deal. So on that note, thank you, Mohammed, one more time. Really appreciate your partnership, and we're going to be working with you very closely. So by no means this session is actually about a vision about storage. Obviously in 30 minutes I don't even know that we can discuss the title of a presentation. At a high level, what I just want to share with you on behalf of Nexenta and at this event, I just want to welcome you for the next generation software-defined data center. And I know this event is kind of dual-headed dragon right now with the OpenStorage Summit and OpenStorage Summit. I see this as one event. I see this as one event, one people coming together to change the world. I really mean this with all my heart. After about 7 transactions I've done in my career over the past 25 years in the data center space, in user computing space, security space with large companies and small companies, bought companies, sold companies, IPO companies, I'll tell you, this is the most exciting time I've ever been to. And that's the reason you're here. I think this event sponsors people from all over the world, including Holland, around like 20 of them are in orange colors. You're here for a reason. I think it's a phenomenal opportunity to network and connect and learn from each other. And I believe next year this event is going to be even bigger. Because the customers I've been talking to over the past 5 weeks since I joined Nexenta, and I've been traveling with the executive staff over the past 4 weeks of those 5 to talk to customers and partners. People, our customers, our prospects want this room to win. They want software-defined data center as a reality. Whatever the term is, they are done with mess. They are done with massively expensive systems as a whole, not only storage. And few vendors for a long time, in my view, I'm going to underline this, abuse the customers with poor service and poor innovation. And I believe in the next 2 decades, in the next 20 years, whether that's virtualization at the server level, networking level, or storage level, we're going to change the world if you do the right things as a group of people. Exchange ideas. I also talked to many of my competitors over the past 4 weeks in this space. Let's call it software-defined storage space. And I feel first time vendors are working together, trying to figure out ideas how we can make this happen. Because at the end of the day, these large vendors, large system vendors, wherever they are, in the US and beyond, they really do not want to lose their overall grip in the market. And literally, and this article goes back to that in that PR magazine in the UK, they are literally coming across like a storage mafia, there's a system mafia. They don't want these untouchables, these NES people, elite NES, that was the name, right? They don't want you to win. Because there's a huge grid, huge hold to the market, and they have all this overhead, all these amazingly heavy-headed overhead in terms of OPEX and CAPEX they built. They need to get that money back in some shape or form. So our goal is to change that overall dynamic as fast as we can. And our customers are trying to help us. I met one customer in Switzerland 2 weeks ago. It's a big cloud service provider. And they're actually providing services to Swiss government and Swiss police force as well as Swiss education department. And the customer is one of our first customers in Nexenta. They started doing Dimitri's code 1.0. Dimitri, you're killing me, giving me a headache. From 8 years ago when you were in college. Actually, you were probably in high school. You started, the coding when you were 8. And he's telling me, Tarkan, what you guys done, what this company has done, and I'm just learning this, as I move forward with the company, what you guys done is so unique, so interesting that it changed the entire economic model for us. In certain areas that you guys are doing things a little bit differently, but we want you guys to win. And he gave me an analogy. He goes, I am driving an Opel. Opel is, German car, Opel, right? And now there's a GM relationship with Opel. I've been driving this car for about 10 years. And I'm done with the usual fuel economy issues that I'm having with my car and service cost and everything else. I cannot upgrade my car because it's expensive to buy a new car. Not only because of the car, but the cost associated with the car. And I'm going to be a do-gooder. I'm going to be going green. What I see you guys is, you guys are not another car, another shiny car. You guys are changing the model. You guys are like Tesla. So what you guys do is so unique. I want to give you guys a chance and work with you guys because I want to change the entire system, economic model for myself. And all the good things you're doing on innovation at the management layer, at the platform layer, whatever the platform is based on, ZFS, NFS, you call the FS that you want on that day, doesn't matter to me. At the end of the day, what I want to change is how I do business in my data center. I want to create a service delivery center, not a data center. So that was kind of an eye-opener for me. And obviously I'm speaking on behalf of Nexenta, but assume this is a speech on behalf of all of you. Doesn't matter what vendor is. So in that context, we're also bringing into this NES family, the Untouchables, some of those long-term vendors who want to be part of that and they want to change the game. And some of those vendors actually had not been on this side. They've been on the dark side for a long time. They want to join the Jedi Force now. And we are also welcoming them. And they're making investments into Nexenta and companies like us to learn and to basically execute around the IP that we're creating here collectively for their own business. Because they realize if they don't, they will die. It's a fact. The old school economic system cannot survive. We all know that. And it's going to change very fast. And with all these new upcoming vendors out of Asia, China, Taiwan, these vendors in the Western world are not going to be able to survive unless they are in this room and learn from you and from us. So on that note, I am really excited to be part of this. As I said, I've been in this industry for 25 years. This is the most exciting time frame I've ever witnessed in technology industry. Not only in software-defined data center, software-defined storage, overall in IT industry as a whole. Whether that's mobility, social media, social commerce. Are you guys familiar with purchasing with purpose? A new trend now happening with all these new e-commerce sites. If you buy something, 50% of the purchase goes to a charity. E-commerce, as we know it, completely changing. There are all these new brands coming out. I just witnessed a CEO speech about 2 months ago. One of those companies are talking about 2 million new vendors making t-shirts, shoes in other parts of the world. They're building a platform, an economic model in which their gross margin and economic structure is changing so much because they want to give back to the communities they live in. This game is going to change. To be honest with you, my customers should not buy products from me unless I support Silicon Valley Education Foundation. Unless I support, and we support as a company and as a community, the communities we live in. And that's going to be a big deal as we move forward into the next decade. And honestly, it is impossible to do that with the current economic system and architectures that we're building in our companies. The only way we can give that is that we create more margin with more software innovation. And I think what you do ultimately enables that. Forget about all these bits and bytes for a second, take it at a higher level. We will change the world. This room will change the world in that sense. That's why I'm so excited to be part of this conference. And I'm assuring you all, as a company and our partners, we're going to support this event as we move forward in bigger ways next year and following year. And I hope we're going to do versions in Asia and in Europe at a level that we've never done before. So we can preach the others who want to be part of this new, what I call flow, a new idea as we move forward. So having said all this, everybody asked me what's your vision. So I have about 87 slides, but I dumbed it down to 1 slide. This is our vision. At the end of the day, at least from a storage perspective, as a software-defined storage vendor, we're going after the mess. And call that massively expensive storage system, call that whatever you want. We're going to go after that mess together with the partners and even competitors, collaborate together and find ways to win. And that's our vision as Nexenta and as our partner ecosystem. Just want to tell you, we have customers here in this room, we have channel partners, ISV partners from all over the world, even customers flew here from other sides of the world. From Asia, from Europe, they're here, just want to be part of this new idea as we move forward in the future. So I just want to make sure, please get involved, not only in terms of technology sessions you guys are going to have throughout the week, but also with organizations like Mohammed's, Silicon Valley Education Foundation, and think about how you can contribute. It's a big deal. It's going to change what we do in a way beyond technology and the application of the technology that we can see for our children and obviously communities we live in. By the way, education is one example, one only example. I just met one customer. It's a hospital chain in Eastern Europe with very little funding. and they're trying to provide healthcare services that they couldn't in the past. With this new idea around software-defined data center over the past few years, with the technologies that you bring in, they built data centers and solutions that at a cost level which is 95% less than what they could do with those mess vendors and to provide healthcare. And that story goes a long way. So it's not only education, whether that's healthcare, state and local government, or other private industries, just get involved. On that note, as Next Center, we're going to create a few advisory boards, both in the US, in Europe, and Asia, and we welcome the best minds in the industry, whether you are an individual contributor, a company, a developer, a marketeer, a salesperson, as I said, a customer, or just a student. Just get involved with our advisory boards as we move forward, because we really want to make this big. And our advisory boards in each region also going to include folks like Mohammed, as we believe public-private partnerships are going to be a big deal in our industry as we move forward. So let's not miss that point throughout these technology sessions all day long. And as we go into the weeds, remember that how we can keep it at a level that we can help the communities we live in. I know there are going to be tons of sessions. I witnessed already a session with Ben and Evan. Evan, where are you? Evan Powell, the founder of Next Center in the front. I learned a lot from you guys in that panel. Even though you guys are all crazy with your 7,000 IQs fighting with each other, hopefully I'm going to find you guys a way, rather than fighting each other, you fight the mess together, right? So on that note, really happy to be here. I'll be around personally, myself, around the floor for the rest of the day. And I believe most of our customers and partners are going to be here also tomorrow. I know there are a few phenomenal keynote sessions coming up. And I also want to tell you is, please do not hesitate to come up with ideas so we can do better. Don't give us only the good story. Talk about the challenges and problems we're creating also as innovative leaders in the industry, so we can fix them as we move forward. Yesterday I was talking to a partner. This guy was, just talking about all the problems they have in software-defined data center. Some of the companies they deal with are just so young, the product doesn't work. Guess what? There was no IBM in 1847. IBM also started after World War II with a lot of pain and tons of gain 60 years later, creating so much value as one of the icons in our industry. Things start at some point. Nothing is 100% perfect. If it was perfect and simple, we would not be here. Actually, I'll tell my salespeople all the time, who are going to give us a huge Q4, John, right? Yeah, your commit numbers are already unbelievable, going out of the sky, against the mess, right? We need to prove the mess that we're here as a company. So having said all that, I was talking to one of these partners, and he asked me, you know what, I don't want to just talk about, the problems these vendors have in the space. I said, no, talk about it. Actually share that view with them so they can get better. These things are going to take time. And mess wants this to fail. I'm not kidding you. Someone laughed in the front. You're not part of the mess, right? You're with the mess. You're going to put Al Capone in the Alcatraz, man. Yeah, whoever that Al Capone is, you know who I'm talking about.
You're my hero.
I'm your hero too. And you're my hero too. So having said all that, in order to accomplish that, we need to collaborate better, and that's why this event is so hugely important. And we want to hear also the bad stories so we can fix those problems and challenges as we move forward. There is a starting point. So don't give up. Be brave. One last point I want to share with you. At one customer site I went to, this customer was in Japan. I'll share with you actually openly. The CEO is a good friend of mine, SoftBank. Ken Miyachi and Son-san, as you guys know, SoftBank bought Sprint. One of the biggest visions of SoftBank is, and actually they're going to also support out of Japan, Silicon Valley Education Foundation, that executive team is going to actually join us on November 6th with our initiatives for education here in Silicon Valley with financial support. Coming SoftBank from Tokyo here to help us out with their broadband capabilities and some of the application capabilities. I was talking to their CEO, Ken Miyachi, and Son-san, and they said, you know what? The infrastructure we built, we can even maintain ourselves over the past 20, 30 years with the mess. And by the way, they loved us. The guy wants to drive a car in Tokyo with this logo on his car. He's a big believer on this. He goes, look, with Sprint, the reason we bought Sprint, we believe in what you guys are doing and we want to change the industry as a cloud service, and we cannot deal with mess to build the next generation data centers to give the next generation app and user experience to our users, whether that's education, healthcare, or whatever that might be. And they want to double down on this. So big vendors are telling me, at CEO level, these mess vendors go into these presentations and put your company's names some of the companies never heard before and say, we're going to go after these guys. Can you imagine? A mess vendor, one of the top 10, you know the names, has slides, #1 competition, next center. Dude, we're 200 people. We're open source people. We just started with nice people. $65 billion market cap, you're coming after us? We're #1 competition to you? And your names, your company's names are in that list too. So our opportunity is to change the game. So be brave, don't back down. And I told also our employees, one of my staff members got a huge package from one of these mess vendors, just to hurt us, you know? They're just coming to our people. This young guy came to my office and put this, offer letter. I kid you not, it was almost $1 million offer letter from one of these mess vendors. And I said, God, what am I going to do? How am I going to keep this guy? He's one of the smartest people in the space. He has all these certifications and so on. He has IQ level I've never seen before. He goes, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here to change the world. This is my opportunity. It's not only about money for me. And he has tons of equity with Nextend as a private company as well. He has a big upside, but beyond that, he goes, I'm here for a different reason. And that's a very important notion. So I just want to make sure that we don't forget that throughout these days and all these discussions around bits and bytes. Keep that level in your mind. There's a purpose that we're doing this. It's not just money and salary. Change what's happening. So when we look back 40 years later, in our deathbed, we can say we were involved with that. We were involved with that. Maybe we should move our headquarters to Haight-Ashbury. I don't know, this is the next 60s. Some of the young people in the room, they're going, what is that? Anyway, really excited to be here. The last point I'm going to make. There's a phenomenal saying that I love from Benjamin Franklin. I always repeat that in discussion speeches with my family. In my Thanksgiving dinner coming up, I'm going to say this again. My sister hates me because I give the same speech every day. Very boring. I'm becoming my dad. I used to make fun of my dad, now my sister's making fun of me. Benjamin Franklin said, there are 3 categories of people. First category, those who are immovable. You cannot move them. They're stuck, rigid. They believe 1 + 1 = 2. And in life, it doesn't. There are a lot of other dimensions to life. So, first category, those who are immovable. Second, those who are movable. They're flexible, but they can move anywhere, wherever shiny object is. Whoever gives them a new offer, okay, I'll do this now, right? Mess loves those people. Have you seen the movie Matrix? Keanu Reeves connected to the cable with the mess? Early part of the movie, those are the ones. They're movable. They're living in this Matrix 1 imaginary world, and they're having that steak and enjoying that steak. You remember the scene in Matrix? This steak sounds good. Tastes awesome. And the third one, this is the pain in the ass ones. Those who just move. Right? Agreed? Just keep moving, man. This is our opportunity. And hopefully, we're going to keep moving even faster starting this event. So on that note, thank you for your time and have a great event.